You have demonized and misrepresented every woman that has tried to make a difference. Medusa, Hecate, Lilith, even Eve was blamed. Even Eve's daughter, the woman of the well. Every woman that is called a Jezebel because she's a woman, apparently. You know, you've always blamed her for your perverted minds and ways. And the time is up for that. The time, this is the year of the snake. And Medusa was blamed for something she wasn't even. She was literally violated and literally cursed for something she never did wrong. And the days of you being able to blame women and to take her out of the Bible. There's Mary Magdalene's words you've taken from the Bible, Thomas's words, Enoch's books. Even the beginning of the Bible, Lilith was completely obliterated from. Only in Isaiah 43:14 she's mentioned, and people wondered, who is this? It's so, because it's like a lost name that doesn't even make sense, because you've completely taken her out of the beginning of Genesis completely. Don't you think you must have taken out there, because you literally left this clue there that everybody is wondering about now. And I think it's time for us women to stand up and face the truth, because it's not only are we questioning it, everybody is awakening to the fact that there's some truths that the church, the Catholic Church, and many, even the Afrikaans Church, is calling Lilith a night demon. They're not even willing to call her by the name. And I'm here to tell you that the Bible has also said that there will be a new thing in the earth, that a woman will compass a man. It's in Jeremiah 31:22. Jeremiah. Go read it. It stands there. So if you don't want to take the direction and have the compassion, empathetic women try and nurture and restore this earth back to its original intent, to get some form of Eden back, after you've completely blown up all the houses and all your concrete crap has been blown to parts in so many countries, and you literally want to continue that. Let's face that. And I'm calling on people like Putin, who loves animals. I know he loves dogs, that he will have mercy when he sees what is happening here. Because America is just lining up the next villain to fall for her. Trump is just literally he's making countries up against each other. And he's just going to stand back and enjoy the show. That's what's going to happen. I hope you can see that. Somebody bullying everybody just to have an entertaining show. Because that's what America is about. Full circus and bread entertainment. Everything he said is just to get a reaction. So stop reacting to his crap and start implementing things that can make a difference. For instance, did you know that if everybody were to claim their home as their home that they are staying in, and we will have a universal weekly income, which the government can provide, because let's face it, AI and generated computers are literally taking over the workforce. So how else would people then survive? Do you want everybody without homes on the streets living in their cars in poverty? Is that what you intend, Yelon? Because this is what's going to happen. And I'm just trying to wake you up to the truth here. You need to make provision. If you want to make an AI intended workforce, then people are going to be home. They're going to need a weekly universal income. If that is your intention, and you can't blame people for wanting to work from home, because it's, let's face it, even you as a parent is completely, most of your children, you are absent father. And most parents, mothers working, are absent mothers. So these children are waking or literally growing up illiterate, dumbed down by school systems, worthy of taking the necessary steps to educate them even. Pumped full of AGHA medicine so that they could be contained when they should be lively and active, so that people can actually contain them and condemn them to completely be zombies. Let's face that. I need you to understand, if your world that you are creating here, then the law also needs to be adjusted. Because if people had homes that they know they had living rights in, and they had a weekly universal income, then there will not be lawlessness, because people will not need to try and break an entry to get a bread under their arm for their family to feed them, or to steal, or any of that will be necessary then, because everybody will have safety of housing and income to actually live from, tend to their gardens and tend to their families. So if you want to create a workforce completely AI generated, then make the provision for this. It is imperative that you understand what law, finances, and the media represents. The Freemasons are already calling it the shots. People are already coming up with the truth on that. And they're giving us the guidelines on how to fix this mess that mainly mankind has created. So you want to demonize women and make sure they are the villains in your bloody stories? You need to only blame yourself for the mess that you have created. You can invent any AI system, but they cannot, and they will never be able to create fruit and agriculture from our earthbound like Mother Earth can. So until you fix all this processed crap that you're feeding us, all this pollutioned waters and chemicals you're pushing into our Mother Earth, she will take revenge in every way form, even if she have to clear everybody to sickness, because you have contaminated her earth. Her roots, everything is a mess because of you and your corporate. No, this is not going to go on like this. Us as women need to stand up here and nurture and restore and bring this chaos mess that mankind has created to an end, and salvage and nurture this earth and our animals back to health. And it's only we that are the healers and the restorers that are willing to take that necessary step to fix this mess. I implore you to try and at least see the reason in that, or lose everything. Mealavie. We're having a lovely rainy day here again in South Africa, Pretoria. And I had this idea, and it's about mermaid juice as such. It's a brand that I'm trying to start with some beautiful quotes, inspirational quotes about saving Earth and helping Mother Gaia as such, on some branded items that I will show you later. But either way, I was just thinking, Enoch's book talks about how the mermaids, the angels that mated with some of the women as such, on earth were turned into mermaids, and there's so much proof that this actually exists. So it's interesting because just after that, if I understand correctly, the Noah floods came, and it's just interesting to me that of all the creatures that could survive a flood, it would be a mermaid, isn't it? So was the intention then to actually save them that way? To preserve them in that way? I'm just wondering, this is just a thought. If mermaids could survive a flood, supposedly, is it not the ideal creature to turn them into then? To preserve whatever knowledge or skills or some abbreviation of them to some degree, you know? So it's just an interesting thought that I'm leaving with you on my Mermaid Juice platform that I will be trying out with some interesting thoughts on how we could maybe possibly try and save what's left of this mess of what the destruction that people has caused on this earth, and try and motivate people to try and look out for our earth, to try and salvage what is left or lose it completely. About 2 years ago, this time of the month, I worked for a company called Women Against Rape. And I've just been quiet about it because the lady that's in charge of it is quite a good friend of mine. And then, but you know what, I realized that I cannot be quiet about it because what's happening there, because in this time that I was in a struggle, I also called them to try and help me. And I realized, but they just a glorified NPO taking money and payments and making some small contributions to here and there small subjects, but literally gaining misusing funds and not utilizing it as well as they should. So I'm talking about Women Against Rape. It's a company that Oprah Winfield has also financed. She's even given this lady that is the founder of this foundation, Janine, literally a house to stay in, and she's giving them funding. And Enrico, which is the guy that I'm actually mentioning, because I want you to understand that even though Oprah Winfield is funding this, it doesn't make her the bad person in this situation. She's funding something that is misused and misanalyzed and misguidedly used. So I would like you to understand the concept. If you are standing for a company for Women Against Rape, but the funds that are coming in, because I work there, I was appointed as the call center manager. And in the 2 to 3 months that I worked there, the Enrico, which is from England, and his wife Carrie, he came through with his family, stayed at expensive venues basically, so that we could sort of meet him and understand what the call center was all about. And I wanted to explain this to you. He's one of those guys that wants a woman barefoot pregnant, not questioning anything, not having any original ideas or concepts. The question that I got is when I had some ideas of how to, I even got some CVs in, got some people that he could interview when he came through, that we could employ in son. And he just said to me, you know what, the last person that had too many ideas, we got rid of very quickly. And when every suggestion that I tried to make, because I was the manager of the call center, he just pulled off. And there were 2 incidents where people actually phoned him for help. And he would literally tell us, listen, you're not here to help people, you're here to manage the debit orders. Just understand that clearly. And I was working for Women Against Rape. So it seems to be, and then the funds that were utilized were literally just going to, I would love to be analyzed, the transparency of where those funds are utilized for. Because I know I worked for them, and I knew her for about 2 to 3 years prior working there. And I know that they do small projects of needlework and so on, but they're making money with making stuff. So these funds of debit orders that are coming in, that are paying all their salaries, I, for one, know of Salvation Army, because I wrote my matric in the Salvation Army House of Safety, and the work they do, to try and put women in safe spaces where they could be looked after, cared for, out of abusive situations as such. Now, I don't know where they are currently and if they're still operational. But if a place like Women Against Rape and war as such, and these kind of places don't even know how to help a woman that phones in saying they're in a situation that they need a safe haven for. And apparently backpacks are made for these women and rape victims as such. I never saw one backpack. I know they have photos of it and everything. I would love to see, I mean, is there SOS call line to the police service for every woman that walks in there raped, that they, or where is these backpacks kept? Because I didn't see any of that. What I did see is a lot of donations that came in, and she's taking it then to places like squatter camps and places like that, and people that are struggling in Pretoria West. That she did do. But the foundation is called Women Against Rape. She did not stand for that. Actually helping rape and abused women as such. Because that's what it's called for. No, I would love to get involved in a project like this, an NPO that's legitimate, that's using funds. I would love to be able to take this company, because let's face it, that's why I'm so against NPOs as such, because the money is always somewhere fumbled. Somewhere it goes wrong, even though the intention is so amazing behind it. I mean, Janine's now at the place where she's going to sell her property, going smaller. She's an elderly lady already. Amazing, amazing woman. But this bloody man that's running this call center, so to speak, is literally just there, keeping women in their place. I mean, she's such a dynamic woman. Why she would even associate with a man like that, I don't understand. I really don't understand that. Because he's literally not there to help any woman but himself. That was very clear. The way he treated the situation there, the way he ranted when we tried to help somebody, actually. Two times this happened. And I was just thinking, you know what, I cannot associate with this. I actually wrote a whole email saying that this is not how it should be. I had a whole thing that I made, and I subsequently lost my work there because I was so vocal on it. But I was just thinking, this is not how things should be run. I wish I could have stepped in there and made the difference that that company needed. Because the way that they're treating the financial situation on that, they could have done really much better if they treated it as a place where women, I just wish I could have, I know what my capability is and how amazing, resourceful I am at helping people and really getting to them the necessary help they need. And I was just thinking how people like Oprah Winfrey and all these people that are trying to make a difference. I even contacted Charlize Theron, and that was also completely a scammed profile, you know. And I was just thinking, you know, there's these women trying to make a difference and then scammed and my funds are fumbled and misutilized and things like that. And I just think, you know, what a pity that is, because it could have been such a great initiative as such. And it's just sad, even this Charlize Theron, you have to buy into something. I wanted to work for her in her company, and I actually approached her to do that. And it was just completely, the person that was at the face of it here in South Africa just completely hindered the whole thing. And she wanted money, a lot of money. And I wanted to work for her and make a difference, help, because I have amazing initiatives and ideas that could really make a huge difference, even as to war children being in safe, sheltered places, to try and get them to safety, because at this time they open targets for whoever wants to traffic or use or misuse them as such, you know. So yeah, it's just sad that the small kind of differences that we are trying to make is literally hindered by people being misusing funds, misutilizing their final purpose for why they are actually there. Why isn't there a SOS line for these women to try and call and make it and because when we walk into the police stations, you know how many times those ladies are questioned. They're not treated properly. On most of the time they are questioned of making stuff up. And they walk in there vulnerable. That's why so many don't even bother to report it. You know how many unreported rape cases and abuse cases there is because people don't even trust the SAPD at this stage. Now you get these companies that or NPOs that are there to help these women, and they can't even really make a difference. So what is the use of them then? I'm sorry, I'm asking you straight. Why are you then actually there? What is your function as such? Please answer me that.